Thoughts Are Origin of Death, Chapter 17 of Holographic Multiverse. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving deep into something that literally kept me awake at night while writing it. We're talking about Chapter 17 of my book, Holographic Multiverse, Thoughts Are Origin of Death. And I'm warning you right now, this isn't your typical philosophical discussion. This chapter was born from real suffering, real fear, and a theory so unsettling that I still get chills writing about it. The breaking point. Picture this. You're so dizzy you can barely stand. The world is spinning, you're nauseous, and the only thing keeping you conscious is the cold air hitting your face as you drive to the hospital. That's where this chapter begins. Not in some ivory tower thinking about death abstractly, but with me literally fighting to stay conscious, clinging to every sensation to keep from passing out. The hospital visit? A complete joke. The doctor basically shrugged and said, "Sorry, can't help you." That moment shattered something in me. Here I was, on the edge of what felt like death itself, and modern medicine just gave up. That's when I realized I was truly on my own. So there I am, stumbling through a supermarket, grabbing spinach and almonds because I'm desperately trying to fix my brain chemistry naturally. The fluorescent lights are killing me. Every sound is like nails on a chalkboard, but I'm fighting. I'm literally fighting for my life in the produce section. The restaurant revelation. But here's where it gets really intense. I drag myself to this restaurant, forcing down food I can barely taste, when suddenly, bam! This memory hits me like a freight train. My grandparents, their last years, and everything clicked in the most terrifying way possible. You know how old people sometimes get? How they start talking constantly about death, about being ready to go, about their friends passing away? I used to think that was just normal aging. But sitting in that restaurant, barely able to keep food down, I saw something horrifying. My grandparents weren't just acknowledging death. They were feeding it. Every conversation about their deceased friends, every "we're just waiting for the Lord to take us," wasn't passive acceptance. It was active participation in their own decline. The pattern emerges. Here's what blew my mind. I started seeing this exact pattern in myself. Months before my collapse, what was I doing? Obsessing over astronomy, quantum mechanics, the infinity of space, the meaning of existence. Sounds intellectual, right? But really, I was staring into the void, and it was staring back. Just like my grandparents, I developed insomnia, strange dreams, depression. My arms got so weak I couldn't open jars. My legs shook climbing stairs. The exact same symptoms they had before they died. The connection was undeniable and absolutely terrifying. The mechanism of death. Now, this is where the theory gets really dark, so stay with me. I believe there's actually a chronological order to how thoughts can kill you. First, you start obsessing over death, whether it's through philosophy, grief, or fear. Then comes this weird excitement mixed with terror. You know that tingling feeling when you're scared? That. The fear grows until it becomes this crushing anxiety and depression. Your mind literally starts separating from your body. You feel disconnected, dizzy, like you're floating away. And then, the great fear. This overwhelming existential terror that I believe is the actual trigger of death. I survived this great fear by doing something desperate. I pressed my finger and thumb together so hard it hurt, using that pain to anchor myself to reality. I forced myself to focus on immediate, physical things around me to stop my thoughts from spiraling into that deadly void. Living with dangerous knowledge. Here's the really messed up part. Now that I know this, I can barely think about death at all. Even writing this chapter gave me pins and needles. I have to use the word death as little as possible, because just thinking about it too much starts the whole process again. It's like discovering fire, incredibly powerful knowledge, but touch it wrong and you'll get burned. Why this matters? Look, I'm not saying this is universal truth. This is my experience, my theory, born from my trauma and near-death encounter. But think about it. How many people do you know who seemed to give up before they died? Who talked themselves into the grave? We know stress kills. We know depression has physical effects. Is it really so crazy to think that sustained, obsessive thoughts about death might actually accelerate the process? The terrifying truth about consciousness. What this chapter ultimately reveals is something we don't like to admit. Our thoughts have incredible power over our physical reality. The same consciousness that can inspire us, create art, solve problems, and love deeply can also turn against us with devastating consequences. My grandparents lived this. I nearly died from it. And now I live with the constant awareness that my own mind could be my greatest enemy. Final thoughts. When I share this chapter with the world, people need to understand this isn't academic philosophy. This is a survival story. It's about a man who stared into the abyss, figured out how the abyss kills people, and barely escaped with his life. The cold air that kept me conscious during that drive to the hospital, the desperate way I forced down food while fighting nausea, the terror in my grandparents' eyes during our last meeting, the physical pain I used to anchor my consciousness. These aren't metaphors. They're evidence. This chapter is my warning to the world. Your thoughts have power. Use them wisely, because once you understand how deadly they can be, you can never unknow it. And that, my friends, might be both a curse and a blessing. What do you think? Have you ever experienced thoughts that felt physically dangerous? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into consciousness, philosophy, and the darker corners of the human experience. If you enjoyed this video and want to dive deeper into the mysteries of the holographic multiverse, I invite you to check out my book. You can get your copy right now. Just follow the link in the description below. Your support not only helps me create more content, but also fuels this journey of exploration. Want even deeper access? Join my Patreon for exclusive content, behind-the-scenes insights, and a free download of my book. As a patron, you'll also receive bonus videos on how I conquered insomnia and anxiety, plus a private 30-minute call with me to explore life's biggest questions together. Don't forget to follow me on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and X for updates, extra content, and mind-expanding discussions. Links are all below. Thanks for watching, and remember, take care of your mind. It's the only one you've got.